All right. Well, hello everyone. This is Mike, the last kid on Elm Street, and today I have a very special guest with me. It's Horror with Sam, all the way from the UK. Hey Sam, thanks for joining me. I much appreciate it. We get this first video cast going, so we can discuss movies. Super fun. And what are we going to be discussing today is the Redwood Massacre. Yay. Okay, cool. And I like that you picked this one because it had such a low score on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought that was kind of funny. Do you usually pick
Yeah,
movies that are not like really high in ratings or?
that's not my usual approach, but I thought I've never seen, well, I've seen a few Scottish horrors, but I've not seen many. So that was 1 point for Redwood Massacre. Second of
Okay.
all, I've not seen any horror films with a 5% Rotten Tomatoes rating. So I was really, really
Okay.
intrigued what that
Yeah.
would look like and would I enjoy it, which is why we're here.
Yes. Okay. So I thought that was interesting too because it's easy to review a good movie, but to watch something like that low, I was like, all right. So cool. What's like your first thoughts about this movie? Like if I say Redwood Massacre, what do you think?
I don't want to be too harsh and say a waste of time,
Okay.
um, but that is the immediate thought process. For me, it took, I think, in fact, I've got my notes, 1 hour, 13 minutes
Mhm.
in. That was the first time I felt scared, and that was right at the end. So it was a
Absolutely.
bit of a journey. I didn't love it, and I think the rating was probably quite appropriate. Now, when I go and watch a film that a lot of people have slated, like whether that be critics or audiences, I kind of think, well, it can't be that bad. Like, I want to give it a chance. But I gave this one a chance, Mike, and it just didn't do anything
So,
for me. What did you
I,
think of it? If
you know,
I
yeah,
flip the question back on you,
I mean, it was definitely one I would be like, all right, this movie's not good. That's my first thoughts. But it had pros and had cons. It just had more
Mhm.
cons. I watched it. I think I told you I put it on like one day. It was like auto playing on Tubi, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then someone had
Mhm.
recommended it, and I realized that was the movie I was watching. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Uh, again, that's the last one I thought you would select, but I'm glad we did it because it was funny. I mean, I'll just take it from the top. I thought the opening scene was really good. It has like some really great gore in it. Um, like that's what it really had good like shots of gore. Like there was like that whole axe and yeah, there's gonna be spoilers here, obviously. So for anyone watching, there was like that axe in the back that was like really digging in. Like I thought that was really cool. So that gripped my attention right away. Like I was like, okay, it's gonna step up the gore a bit. What'd you think of that opening scene?
I thought the opener was great, to be fair, to give it some credit. It caught your attention, drew you in, you kind of thought, okay, where's this going to go?
Mm,
However, I agree with you on the gore. It had plenty of that. Like the blood, they clearly spent the whole budget on that, I think, and not really acting lessons. But the gore was spectacular. However, I got a little bit bored by how everyone was killed. I know it's a slasher, but he kind of had the same approach. It was a hammer or it was a whatever a farmer tool, and that was it. And in a lot of the cases, you didn't actually see the kill finish. It kind of cut off before it. I don't want to say got good, but before it got got to the really
understandable.
gruesome part, it stepped in and then it shied away a little bit. And I kind of thought if you want to center the whole film around
Hmm.
that, around the kills, because there was little else going on with the plot, at least make those kills
Did it have
interesting,
one?
exciting.
Did it have a plot? I was wondering what there was, but I was looking for that. I think they lost it in the woods. But
Yeah.
are you familiar with like Power Rangers by any chance?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because the guy in the beginning that's like the father looking for the killer, he looks exactly like Austin St. John, who's like the original Red Ranger. So I just
Okay.
kept thinking about that, and I was like, oh, is he in it? That's cool. Of course, it's not him. It's like completely furthest person from him, but I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, you mentioned it was set in Scotland, of course. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like on your neck of the woods a little bit, huh?
Kind of, yeah. So I'm like northwest of the UK. That's a few
Okay.
hours further up on a train. But
Yeah.
I love a UK horror film because I'm
Okay.
UK based and that's really exciting. And all my
Yeah.
faves are American. So yeah, I was excited by it, disappointed. And the guy you mentioned who looks like the original Power Ranger, I thought he was fab. Like he's kind of iconic,
Oh,
but
really?
it
Okay.
it took itself as a whole too seriously, and he was kind of the
Yeah.
cherry on top.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. I'm gonna skip to the end of my notes. At the end there, he gives like this huge monologue about his daughter, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there thinking, like, the killer's right there. Like, dude, you're really gonna go on for like 10 minutes, and then he ends just like getting killed so easily and so stupidly. You know what I mean? It's just like, take your best shot. You're like, what do you think was gonna happen?
Yeah. His whole
So,
monologue as well was like, you need to run, you need to get out of here.
yeah.
But just bear with me 1 second, let me finish. And continues the speech. And she's like, oh, but no, I want to say it. Yeah, it's just not the best. Not
Not
the
only that, but
best.
it took him like 10 years and he didn't get come prepared. You know what I mean? Like he had a
Yeah.
shotgun, but that's it. Like he didn't bring. I would have had like bombs. I would have had like Batman, batarangs ready to go. I would have had anything. 10 years is a long
Yeah.
time.
A
So I don't
decade to
believe he
prep.
looked 10 years. Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
believe
And that,
that.
that it raises like another really interesting point about this film. Like, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. So obviously that guy prepping for 10 years, coming woefully unprepared, and then just, living up in the spotlight with his speech. But there was another bit which I could not stop laughing, which is when she jumps in a forklift truck and immediately knows
Oh God.
exactly which lever to pull, how to
Oh
operate
yeah.
it flawlessly
I forgot
to
about
kill
that.
whatever he is, the legend, the monster, the villain of our story. So
That's
that
so funny.
it was hilarious. It's great. Well, great is too strong a word, but it's funny. It's a
It was
funny
funny.
film.
It's definitely
You mentioned
funny.
some pros though, Mike. I feel like we're hating on it quite a lot, aren't we?
Oh, there's a lot.
What was
All right.
good?
So I thought the what do you call it? Like I said, I mentioned the gore was like really intense. Like there was that
Yeah.
scene where he got like a bunch of them, and then he got that knife for the one girl, and he was like debating on what to use, and it was like that really like crooked knife, and it
Mm,
was just like just really intense. I didn't, it used it sparingly like throughout the movie, but when it did use it, it was really like they really went for it.
mm.
So that's a pro if you like gory movies.
Yeah,
So Terrifier 2 being the reigning champion, I believe, in my opinion. But
agreed.
yeah, there was like that whole saw to the head that cut away a little bit. I'm thinking
That
what
was good,
else?
but
Yeah,
the cutaway,
yeah,
why?
brought it.
Mm.
I mean, after going all the way like that, but yeah. So the Great Gore, I was another pro is that they killed all the annoying characters. I was very happy about that. Like just watching them all
Yeah.
die. I hated there was those two girls walking around the woods that didn't even need to be in the movie. The one like talking about her ex-boyfriend or something, or the guy with his ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like they really had like no purpose in the movie. I don't know. They just, I think they were just there for like a plot device to just have something to cut back to. Like, did you find them annoying as I did? I don't know.
Incredibly so. Yeah, and I thought all their dialogue as well was very literal. Like a girl wakes up on her own in the camp. She comes out. She's like, "I am alone. There is nobody here." And then her friend comes back. She's like, "What are you being? Why are you being so silly? Like, I am back." And it's just so prescriptive. It's very basic. I've flipped to hating on it again. I know I asked you for your pros, but I've kind of gone straight back to hating on this film.
There's
But
plenty more. There's plenty more to hate.
yeah, the dialogue really got to me. I thought that kind of ruined it. If the dialogue had been, really thoughtful or it had something more to it, like more character development, I feel like the film would have maybe raised to like a 15% audience
Hmm.
score, not 5%. Just that alone would have been great, but we didn't get that.
Well, I just feel like you just didn't care about any of the characters. Like I could not
Yeah.
care. Like the only guy I liked was that the father, and then like he was gone. Like he was in the beginning and he was in the end for like 2 seconds, or 10 minutes, and then he's just done.
Yeah.
So I'm at that point. I like the killer the most. It's just what's
Yeah.
interesting. I was like, dude, kill everybody, please, because they're really annoying.
Yeah.
So that was that. But yeah, like I said, he should have been like at least more prepared for that moment. Like you're looking for
Mm.
your daughter for 10 years, and dude, you just show up like whatever. I was just kind of weird. I just thought the acting was so bad. It was almost like they were making fun of themselves. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like they were
Yeah.
making fun of like actors. I don't know. There was no like realism to it. Maybe that was on purpose. I don't know. What do you?
I think that's a very, like literature class approach, read
Mhm.
between the lines of the film. What do you interpret the film as? And I think that would be a generous interpretation, like
Yeah.
that they are in a pseudo film taking the mickey out of themselves, presenting it as a serious piece of
Mhm.
cinema.
So
Um,
I thought he looked a lot like Leatherface from like Texas Chainsaw. You ever see the cover of
mm,
that movie? Yeah, like he had the same outfit. His mask was really cool though.
the
Uh,
mask was
I thought
great, and I'll
the
give it
monster,
that.
yeah, the killer monster, whatever. You never really find out.
Mm.
There is a second movie though. Did you know that?
I
Yes, it's
googled it, and I
actually
was astounded to see that they had made a sequel.
not only that, but Danielle Harris is in it. So they were probably like, we need to put somebody in this movie. You know what I mean? I watched some of it; it
Yeah.
was pretty good, but I didn't really like make the connection because I wasn't paying attention to it, and at that point, I didn't really like know the first one that well.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna rewatch that one. Before I gather, they take it out of the forest, so that's kind of cool.
Okay. Is it the same storyline, the same killer?
Yeah, it's same killer, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. At least there's someone that looks like him in the scene. I don't
He's
know.
a farmer.
They
He's got
pull,
a mask. Done.
yeah.
Sequel boxed off.
So, but there was like nothing even like I don't know. Was it actually supposed to be like based on a true story? Was it based on a true story? Like fake?
Yeah, I noticed it said that, and I love a based on true story, but I just no, I don't know. It wasn't really
Yeah,
explained. There was no flashback post credits,
yeah,
like, oh, this was, the original guy who went mad, killed all his
yeah,
family, and ate his wife in front of his daughter. None of that. That was the killer origin story, by the way,
yeah,
guys.
yeah. And you all need to watch this movie because you got to see for yourselves, of course, because we're talking about it. It makes it more appealing now. So it'll probably be like a cult classic, you know. One thing really funny too is that part when she's escaping from the forest and that guy picks her up, the hitchhiker, or not the hitchhiker, but just like that driver. And then
Yes.
they wake up and he's like, "Oh, I got lost." I'm like, "How the hell did you get lost, bro? Like, don't you live here?" But only that, like, he served no purpose. Like, he instantly died, like right after. You know what I
He
mean?
did.
Like,
And yeah, that was the bit. That was my bit, Mike, that I said 1 hour, 13 minutes, the scariest part. It was that. So when she's picked up by the hitchhiker, he drives around in circles, we find out, and then she wakes up and she's like, oh, where are we? And oh, we're lost. I thought he would be another villain and
yeah, I
there
was
would be
hoping
a little
that.
twist.
Yeah,
But that wasn't. He's like, oh, there's a house over there. I'll go knock on the door. And then bam, the killer just rocks up out of nowhere and offs him. And then we're back to square one.
yeah, I thought he was going to be in on it, like as his father or
Yeah,
brother or something. You know, that would have been
just something.
something, something.
Yeah, a little bit more depth than we got,
Yeah.
just those tiny little tweaks of the film, infinitely better if they'd have done it.
I'm like, did you guys run out of money? Like this shooting schedule, like close. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, did they not have time to fill another scene? I
I
don't know.
think I read the budget was about 150K.
Okay,
Where did
so
that go? It's low, but like, where did it go?
definitely didn't go on, actors, but
No.
and I'm not hating. I appreciate, all actors and all movies are doing their thing. I think the story was just kind of bad, but
Mm.
and it was very generic. I mean, it was basically, Friday the 13th, as most of these movies are. So you just enjoy them for what they are, and they're like, twist. Even Friday the 13th is like a ripoff, right? Actually, no, Halloween, I believe it's a ripoff of Friday the 13th, if I remember correctly. They kind of did that, but yeah. It's a classic slasher movie, but it could have been better. It could have been way better. I'm trying to think what else. There was one girl too, also one of the annoying characters. I couldn't tell you her name because I didn't care enough to find out. But
No, exactly. I can't either.
she's the one that gets punched in the face like I don't know 20 times and just takes it, doesn't get knocked out. Doesn't really fall. Has like tons of blood oozing out of her face, which looked really cool. But like it's fine really for the most part. That
Yeah, it's a
annoyed me.
time thing. One punch killers all the time
Yeah,
in the UK, right? One punch to the face,
yeah,
someone dies. She took, as you say, about 20. Tiny girl,
yeah.
just carried on. Power
And it wouldn't be
through.
so bad. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Is the fact that there was another guy earlier, like he stood there and got punched in the face a few times and just died, I think. And he didn't even do anything to fight. Like he just stood there. I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all those things annoyed me. So this movie, unfortunately, I believe, like you said, deserves its rating. I will give
Mm.
it points for the cool, brutal kills. I wish we would have saw this Saw. It would have been cooler. What else? Like the twisting of the knife was really. I was like cringing while I was watching it. I was like squirming.
Yeah.
That means it's good. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So as much as I love Terrifier 2, sometimes some of the gore is just like it's a little silly at times. little campy,
Mm.
but you know, I love it nonetheless. But like, this was, you know, really cool. I thought they did a good job on that, and I
Yeah.
wish the. So, what would you like your overall final opinion be now that we've kind of taken into some points of what I may have highlighted as some positives? You might not agree, but would you recommend this movie to like your friends or other people watching the video?
I wouldn't. Of
Okay.
all the flowers in the world, there are so many fantastic ones and so many more just worth the time, worth that, 1.5 hours you could spend enjoying another kind of film, but just not this one. I really didn't like it. I didn't think it had enough going for it to warrant a watch. The dialogue was poor. It just shied away from what it wanted to do. It just
Hmm.
wasn't. I would get half a star.
Half a star. Okay.
The film score was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Maybe that's where the budget went, to be fair, like the music.
Okay. Yeah, the music was cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I agree. The ending was shit. I mean, it was just bad. I think suddenly one of those sudden endings, which is just dumb. So
Mm,
I think it's really was like a pointless movie. So I
yeah.
don't know how they got around to making a second one. To be honest, I guess maybe I don't know. It was somebody's love child to
I
like do
would
this
love to
movie.
know the story of how the sequel came about, and I will look into that after this.
Yeah, and do a follow up video on like what happened. Um,
Definitely.
Very cool. So, is there anything else you would like to add? I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a pass. Also, I don't recommend anybody watch it unless you're like a glutton for punishment. But you'll be bored out of your mind, I think.
Mm,
Or if you want to laugh at it, that's cool. So,
yeah. I think a great background watch if you were doing a lot of other things and you just want something fairly spooky on in the background, maybe ambiance for your Halloween party,
uh,
it would be fine without any audio,
mhm,
just on a back wall. But beyond that, no, do not recommend.
I
Hard
agree. I
pass.
agree. Now, since we had these people watch this video, I feel like we should give them something to watch that's good. So, what would you recommend, maybe for this week, or like what's one of your tops recently that you would recommend someone to watch right now?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Terrifier 2 a couple of times in this vid.
Oh,
I watched it last week. I'd heard a lot about the Terrifier stuff. They look at that. Look at that. I just heard a lot of people raving about it. I gave both the
right,
films a watch, really loved Terrifier 2, and I'm not
right,
generally a slasher fan even.
okay.
So that, yeah, really surprised me. And I think if you are looking for a really strong slasher, that's your one. You need to go see that. What about you,
Mhm.
Mike? What's your rec?
I agree. I love all of those. I would recommend a lot of people overlook this one, All Hallows Eve. You know, which is kind of like the first one in
Ooh.
the series. That creeped me out more than the Terrifier movies because it has like all these mini stories, and Art the Clown's in it, but he's kind of like in certain scenes. He's not in like all of it, but like he's got some brutal kills in that one.
Well,
It's I thought it was more disturbing than maybe not Terrifier 2, but just overall, it's got some really creepy stuff in it. So if you haven't seen that one, you should watch it.
I haven't. That's like the
So,
spiritual first film, isn't it? In like a
yeah, they
Terrifier
find like a
series.
videotape in the Halloween bag, and it's like creepy as hell. And it's like all these weird stories that you're watching as the movie, and
Nice.
then it has the background story, like Creepshow does or something. So
Love an anthology. I will
yeah,
definitely check that out.
good. There's a rec for you. So.
Thank you.
Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you for everyone that watched our video, and we hope you
Yeah.
find some good movies to watch versus just, watching these. We'll watch the bad ones for you, apparently, and we'll tell you what the
We'll
good ones
save you the
are.
time.
So,
Yeah.
so thank you, everyone. Mike signing off. Thank you, Sam, again for joining me. It was
Thank
awesome. I'm glad we finally
you.
got to meet and discuss this, so I'm very happy about
100%.
that. And we'll have to do another one in the future.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Can we
Everyone
beat
take.
5%? Maybe go 4 or 3?
I think we can. Actually, at this point, I want to try. So,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
Peace out for now, and see you later.